impact is very significant. So what you see is that we operate at 88% circularity, and that realizes a 35% reduction in global greenhouse gas impact. And that's huge, but I think, and I know we can do a lot better. If we reduce the virgin material content in our product and renewable power our business, but also make sure we can use materials that are either biodegradable or infinitely recyclable, we can further increase our positive impact with this circular business model. And I think that's amazing, because if we could bring this even to 50%, how about that, right? If we could make all our products in this fashion and we slice our emission by half, I think we have made a huge impact on the global climate crisis. So by providing a convenient service with a product that lasts, we really aim to make a positive, sustainable impact in the cities where we operate, and I hope to inspire other businesses as well. So, thanks. Thank you very much. Oh, I think you're on mute, Sergio.
Thank you, Richard, for that. Thank you for your presentation, Richard. It was very good. Look forward to asking some questions about it. Anna Carolina, would you like to take the floor, please?
Yes, I can. Let me share my screen. Okay, you guys are going to appear big for a little bit. Let me present. Okay. Please, if you have any problems with my audio, just let me know. Very happy to be here talking about the OLX Group. You might, if you're from Europe, you might not have heard of OLX. We usually are more emerging markets, but we are in 30 markets with more than 20 brands and 300 million monthly users. So we have a good impact on the society. We're a team of 7,000 people and growing year on year. So only last year we grew to 37% in our revenue, which was 1.3 billion. So what does OLX do? I love this image. It's I think 7 years old, but it doesn't get old. We say that our business model is for everybody to win. So the seller is a classifieds platform. So if you live here in Amsterdam, it's Marketplaats. If you live in UK, it's Gumtree. If you live in Brazil, where I'm from, it's OLX. But it's a platform where you can put your things to for sale and somebody will buy. Can be secondhand, can be new. So we say that the seller wins because it makes some money out of what he wants to sell, and the buyer wins because he can afford things that he otherwise wouldn't. The money stays within the community, so we say the community wins. And of course, I think the most important part for this for the seminar is how the environment wins, because you keep things longer, the usage longer of things, and of course the company wins when it's our business model. We get some money for it. So last year we started measuring the impact of using a secondhand platform or classifieds platform to sell your things. What this impact would be. So we started by measuring the impact of giving more life to laptops, tablets, and cell phones. That's what you can see on the screen right now. So talking about bikes after Richard's presentation. So in terms of materials, we save the weight of over 1 million bikes. Energy use over 372,000 US households. The water of over 61,000 US households, and also for the equivalent CO2 emissions, equivalent of 315,000 plane passengers flying from Amsterdam to Los Angeles. This is only 1 year in 3 product categories. Then we measure fashion. Fashion was a bit hard to measure the materials because it's very different if you were selling your wedding dress or if you're selling a little t-shirt, a baby t-shirt. So and we were very, very conservative on this calculation. So it took us 6 months to agree on all the assumptions. And only fashion, we save energy use of 15,000 US households, the water of 7,000 US households, and the CO2 equivalent to 18,000 plane passengers flying from Amsterdam to Los Angeles. Most recently, I think it was last month, we released the third report, and there we measure cars, motorcycles, books, and TVs. And again, you have a really impressed number. So in terms of materials, 104 million washing machines saved. In terms of energy use of over 24 million US households, water use of over 1.7 billion US households, and nearly 23 million passengers traveling from Amsterdam to Los Angeles. We intend to do more to measure, the impact of everything. And the next step on this journey is to really share. We have the calculation per product, what people save, and also, the combined. This is what you see is the combined. And we want to use those numbers and this information to bring even more people to our platforms, to potentialize the power of using your things for longer, and give it a second or third or fourth lives through our platforms. That's my short message for today. Happy to talk more about the impact of our business model. I'm a very huge fan of Swipe Fits. I have one, my partner has another one, and we'll keep using forever. Richard, well done.
In fact, we see them everywhere in Amsterdam. Thank you so much, Anna Carolina. It was awesome also your presentation, and it's so good to see numbers, and it really gives us a very, very direct perspective on the impact of the shared economy and the redistributive economy in your case. So thank you so much for that. So now I would think I will invite Safia Qureshi from Cup Club. Safia, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Amazing. Can everyone see the presentation? Excellent. Great. Well, thank you for having me. It's wonderful to be here. I'm Safia, founder and CEO at Cup Club. In essence, we are a returnable packaging company. Our vision is to eliminate single-use packaging for consumers and put reuse as an optionality for your to-go experience. So we've heard some amazing things today about how historically reuse is in fact something that has always had a factor in consumption, but over the last maybe 40 or 50 odd years, we've kind of swung to single-use consumption across plastics. Majority of the impact that that's had is actually through the food and beverage space. So we believe in a future whereby you go to your favorite restaurant, cafe, supermarket, and you pick up food and beverage, and you have the option of picking it up in reusable to-go containers that you can return conveniently. And that optionality should be as easy as the current options we have between flavors of different ice creams or flavors of different crisps flavors, right? So if you like salt and vinegar, you like pepper and sea salt, or you like sweet chili, whatever it is, those are options. And what we want to make sure is that reusability is an optionality, which is as simple and straightforward as that. So what we set out to do is to really distinguish that there is reuse in the market, which is really fundamental in the to-go space, in the sense that you can return something when you're on the go, or you can return something when you're from home. In a COVID world, that's become all the more interesting because we are very much in the sanctuary of our homes and consuming more than we ever were, which means we have more household waste being generated than before, whereas it might have been more distributed if we were eating out and spending more time out of our homes. So we cover those two particular reuse modalities. Our mission is to help brands and retailers essentially switch and upgrade to a reuse system. And we try and do that in a very heavily measured way. We published our life cycle assessments about a year ago. So we know exactly in terms of what our break-even points are. We know how much CO2, energy, waste, paper, plastic we save on a per order basis. So we've kind of built this whole methodology around our reuse system and compared it to what we call our monsters, which are single-use alternatives. And we use that data to really drive in the same way as some of the other speakers were mentioning, in terms of give us visibility on, first of all, where is most of the energy and CO2 going across the supply chain, and how can we really hone into those particular parts? The more information you know, the better you can design things. And so LCAs are, sometimes they're quite often conducted, in fact, after a brand or business has finished something, and it's kind of like a post-mortem exercise whereby it's there to sort of reveal where everything went wrong. But instead, I think actually LCA should be used before you launch as a way of actually understanding how to go about designing something. So we're really excited to share 2 years since launching. We launched in 2018. We got some funding from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation as a New Plastics Economy Innovation Prize winner. And since we've been endorsed by Closed Loop Partners and a number of other NGOs and operated globally. We launched in the US just before COVID. We will be back in Q2 next year, so stay tuned. I'm going to share a short video, which basically just walks you through exactly what it is, how it works. So as I was mentioning, we found that there are probably lots of places you could start with reuse, but we wanted to start in the areas or in the verticals where we could create the most impact. And by volume, 250 billion cups are consumed, so beverage containers across all multiple brands globally. And we felt this is a fantastic way to actually set up reusability in terms of habitual practice. This is something we do every day. And so that optionality of reuse is something it requires behavior change. 2 years in, we've completed 400,000 orders, and we've done this with only a stock volume of 10,000 units. So we have figured out a fantastic way to move consumer packaging through the entire service map efficiently and effectively, and be able to measure all the impact. Really proud to share our return rate, which is 95%. So that's a sort of, I guess, a testament to the brief that we set ourselves. Which was very much about designing products that people will like and return versus products that people will love and keep. And this is something that we're really, really focused on all the time, because what we are trying not to do is design products that are heavily, over thought through, or very niche, or very, very kind of collectibles. But in fact, products more similar to like bike sharing, things that you can use, that are very functional, that are very nice and comfortable to use, but you're not going to steal a city bike and take it home and show it to your friends. There's a very different design brief in what a city bike does and looks and feels, and what something like a racer or other bikes might have. So we developed this approach onto our to-go containers. We're moving into food, so we recognize that we've really sort of dug into one particular vertical and understood all of its various constraints, and now applying that methodology into food, so that we can sort of replicate a lot of what we have already learned into other types of verticals in the to-go experience. Eventually, the whole vision is that we all join the reusable revolution, and we have reuse as an optionality, which is convenient, cost-effective, and safe. So safety for us is a big feature, and turning this into a commodity long-term is our goal. It's essentially to compete against pricing for single use. And that's one of the reasons why that design brief for us is really fundamental, to make sure that the market really does move in our favor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sophia. Such an original idea for such a big problem. Congratulations on putting all this concept together and actually making it work. Before I turn the floor to Jean, I will just share quickly my screen again of Slido, just so people that have joined in mid-session can know we are using Slido. So please go into slido.com and enter this code, or with your cell phone, you can scan the QR code here on the top left. And also when I stop sharing screen, you can go to our chat and you can just click the link that we are being sharing and you can do exactly the same thing. So if you want to post questions, we already have some here. We will come back here. Just use it so Slido and rate questions from your fellow attendees. So you can also have your favorite questions brought forward. Okay, Jean, the floor is yours.
Hey, thank you. And it's really been great to see all these circular businesses that everyone else has been talking about, and great stats. I'm Gene Homeke. I'm the co-founder and CEO of MyTurn.com. We're a for-profit public benefit corporation where we offer a white label software as a service platform that helps organizations radically increase the reuse and value of products while reducing consumption and waste. So we don't offer products directly, but we remove the barriers to product reuse and setting up product service systems based on product subscription, reuse, and sharing. Our goal is basically to make product reuse easier than purchasing new products. So, and we're basically powering a new generation of circular businesses without them having to build their own platform. At the base, we offer tracking and optimization. This can actually be used for organizations internally. We found early on that even organizations that have enterprise asset tracking systems might know what products they have, where they are, how much less they're worth this year than last due to depreciation, but they actually, a lot of these systems don't actually increase the reuse of those products or make them visible throughout the organization. On top of those back-end tools for basically tracking products across one or multiple locations and logistics for managing them, we also offer on our platform the ability to offer subscriptions, rental, or a combination of the two. This can be cross-sector, obviously e-commerce and online payments, and we also have integrations for self-service electronic locks and lockers, as well as self-service kiosks. And what we're working on now is also combining products across different manufacturers, across different businesses, into B2B and even business to government marketplaces to allow organizations to rent underutilized assets between organizations or start brand new product subscription services. Spend most of the rest of my time talking about our customers because that'll give you a better idea of what our capabilities are. First one is Graceful Changes in the UK. They offer a children's rental and subscription service. They're using our platform to allow their customers to pick out baby clothes. When they're basically done, those baby clothes or kids' clothes will be sent to their subscribers after a few months, either as the kids outgrow them, they want something new, a new set of clothing will be sent to them. Basically keeping that clothing in use as much as possible. At end of life, they look at either recycling or for the items that maybe they're not quite, I believe they call them extra loved. If people either want to keep them, they can purchase them, or basically at end of life, they sell those products. We do this in other areas, kids' toys. This is more of one of our customers that does place-based sharing, where they have pickup locations, especially during COVID, for people to pick up their toy subscription in one of 4 locations around a city just outside of Toronto. And basically, our platform is helping them manage those pickup locations, ensuring those products are where they're needed, when they're needed. And basically, we're doing this across all sorts of sectors. So outdoor gear, it's It's a little bit of a joke internally. We have products that range from the lowest tech, so children's clothing, as you saw it, to VR headsets and drones, and even recently a GoPro Fetch basically harness so you can take your dog on your outdoor adventures and record their view of the world to get a little different perspective. So not only do we do this for startups or businesses offering product as a service, we have customers like Stanley Black & Decker that are tiptoeing into the reuse space. They have a really strong sustainability push, but not quite as strong yet on product reuse. They offer a makerspace as well as essentially a tool lending program as an employee perk. So that way we're basically bringing the circular economy into businesses as well as into the community. And then we also, the state of Indiana here in the States, basically was finding that they needed additional equipment at their Department of Transportation needed equipment in various districts. They essentially have set up their own internal rental shop to basically deal with overflow of or additional needs. Equipment breaks down at one of their 6 or 7 districts around their state. And then their various districts, when they started using MyTurn to essentially rent equipment from the central location, wanted basically to use it to manage their own equipment. So now they're doing more of a even between district, which they used to handle kind of ad hoc. Now they can actually formalize that, calculate, have all these stats on basically how much of that reuse is happening both across the state and between districts. And then we have organizations that combine a lot of these different types of products, not usually the heavy equipment, whether they're for-profit, nonprofit, or part of the public library, often called libraries of things or other product rental services. When they are done as part of the public library, basically what you end up with is the ability to access products for free. So we're essentially helping enable product as a public utility. And this is going to kind of be key. The C40 cities recently released a report that basically cities, if they use consumption-based accounting to account for their CO2 emissions, they are 60% higher than previously estimated. And for those cities to hit their 2030 climate goals, they're going to need to reduce consumption by 50%. So they're going to need to use solutions like all of the ones that people have been talking about here, but then also things like basically product as a public utility to really meet those goals. So as mentioned, we have the whole backend suite to help customers with their logistics across one location, multiple locations, and combining into regional networks. Mm-hmm. And this is working. Just a couple of quick items. We have everything from bikes to table saws. There's a table saw in Vancouver that's been used basically by 351 times by over 200 people. And so what we're seeing on our platform is a radical reuse of 10 to 100 times compared to individual ownership. Mm-hmm. And we're basically working across sectors, as mentioned, and around the world. I believe we're over 15 countries, translated into about 7 different languages. And so really trying to help scale up these circular models all around the world. And with that, I'll turn it back to the whole panel. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Gene. Also very interesting to see your presentation on the numbers and see how also a solution like yours can enable for example, business models that all the other speakers have spoken here today, have identified here today. And also very interesting, and you can see very directly that these business models will not have been born if it wasn't for the IT developments. So of course, IT is a very, very important component of the shared economy. So just to start things up, just to start the questions going, I will ask a first question. How do you help your how do you help your customers be circular? Also, I remember from speaking from Anna Carolina, they already had, well, Alex already had some ideas about in the future for making customers aware of their circular acquisitions. I don't know if you can elaborate on that, but if someone else wants to go ahead and answer that question.
Yes, I can start. Well, today, the circularity is not the main appeal factor for people to use classifieds. It's more the monetary impact or even to declutter your house. But we have some ambitious plans for next year. We were going to start this year, but unfortunately, it wasn't possible because of the circumstances. But we want to make sure that this data that we collected is evident to our customers in our platforms. And invest in marketing campaigns as well. We would really want to bring customers or even customers that don't use it, because today majority of our customers use it for economic reasons, but we want to bring the ones that can use for this ecological use. So we are going to invest massively in marketing, even thinking of how we can put categories in our products for greener products, or even helping small shops who do repairs, also to feature them in our platform combined with the offering of our products. So a lot of exciting things to do. And if anyone in the audience have more ideas, or like those type of projects, really happy to have a virtual coffee for now with you, but hear ideas on how we can implement it and leverage it.
Thank you so much. And if it's true for end customers, it's also true for a lot of businesses that don't start up with the intention of being sustainability or circular, but they happen to be in a circular model. But hopefully going forward, we will see most companies going into that model. So I will just I will share screen again of the questions we've gotten so far. And so here, I think, we have some interesting questions. So how Cup Club deals with the issue of hygiene and health risks of sharing cups? How does
yeah, I mean, like I said, the concept of sharing any sort of utensils isn't new. We all go to restaurants and eat from knives, plates, forks, glassware that's been commonly used up to 1,000 times in some cases. So the standards and the requirements for hygiene are very much replicated, as you see, across food sector. What we adhere to are also then localized restrictions or requirements. So in some territories or some countries, they will have additional ISO certification. They'll have maybe DIN standards that you see across Germany. So we sort of layer any additional ones that are specific, if it's FDA, based on territories. But yeah, freshness, quality is really important as a fundamental for us. It's cost, convenience, and to ensure the safety of our users as well as our customers.
Okay.
But these are really well established standards.
Very well, thank you. I believe this first question is for you, Richard. Have you recognized any competition to other mobility solutions like car, e-scooter, sharing by offering bicycle as a service?
Yeah.
Well, here in Amsterdam, you have a lot of them, for sure.
Yep, for sure. No, I really recognize the thing, but I wouldn't say it's not necessarily only competition, because there's a lot going on in the mobility industry right now. You see it popping up everywhere, different kinds of models, different kinds of products. So in general, the whole mobility market is increasing. So there's more pie to be shared, so to say. And in that sense, that sharing is also very complementary to subscriptions, I think. Because to use a sharing product on a daily basis, that means that you have a very uniform product, but it's for everybody, right? So it's very, how to say, made very robust. In that sense, they're in many cases very heavy. You need to adjust them to your own height, and you're not sure if they're available, yes or no. So maybe that's good for if you are for a day or two in the city. What we see happening, especially in the newer cities where we are, like Paris and Milan, we see people moving from shared mobility to subscription mobility because they see the benefits of having kind of your own product without being the owner of it. So I think in that sense that that sharing is also paving the way for us as a subscription company. But I also believe that there will still be a need for sharing economy. So in that sense, I believe that they're really complementary to each other.
Great. I think I'll pick up this question next, which is very important for circularity also. How do you source? So what special cares do you take with your suppliers in checking also how circular they are or how what sustainable practices they have? Would like to take that question.
I can take it.
Sure.
Regarding sourcing is that we first of all is that we decide what we want to have on the product, right? So we buy the product from our manufacturer, so we decide what we want to have on the product, what content it should have of material, that kind of thing. Second thing is that because of reasons to shorten the time to market, but also decrease the risk of a global supply chain, we try to source our products as locally as possible. The bicycle industry is, however, very global, so it's not always possible to get them as close as we get them. But next year, all our bikes that we buy are from European factories where we operate. And the third of all is that we align with them a code of conduct, and that includes all kinds of stuff from making sure that you have child labor, forced labor, all those kinds of things in your factories, but also how you recycle and power your factories. So those code of conducts, we make sure we sign them together with our manufacturers, also checked by an independent company. So that's what we do on sourcing.
Okay, and now again a question maybe also for Richard, but also for Safia. How do you handle abuse from your customers or special circumstances that occur that you don't expect, like a theft or other kinds of misuse?
Well, we have 95% of our products across retail are returned. And I think that goes back to the brief that I was describing. So the more beautiful you create a product, the higher chance someone will want it or desire it enough to take it, right? So the brief is to try and keep things as simple as possible, as functional as possible. So, you're sort of basically designing super normal things, right? Just ordinary things. Think of your milk bottles, how, they are very actually beautiful if you look at them, but they're very simple, they're very ubiquitous. So the brief for us was to ensure that we never designed anything that would become niche or collectible. We don't want people to take this and keep it. We want people to feel that this isn't theirs. We want people to feel that they haven't bought it. We also do things a bit differently to other reuse companies, perhaps. We don't believe in deposits. We believe that the psychology actually of deposits is that if you've put some money aside in your mind, you've paid for the item. And so we have studied the psychology of this and felt that even your business model needs to be designed and factoring in what the behavior is of an individual. So instead, what we tokenize is the payment. We don't hold it personally, but we have access to it. We have a unique reference for every individual user who wants to use our products. We ask them to save this payment information in the event that the product is never seen again, or they decide to keep it. But that rationale means that you are already, you have this feel that you are renting something. You don't feel that you have purchased something with a heavy deposit. So that also is a barrier in terms of it kind of prevents someone from keeping it psychologically.
Okay, thank you so much for that answer, Sophia. We're about to end our session, actually. We will about to go into the breakout room. I guess also the shared economy also potentiates the collaborative consumption. I guess people also have a sense of responsibility within the shared economy to maintain their products. I guess also that contributes for a 95% rating of your, besides your RFID tracking, of course. Maybe before we get sent into the backup room, I don't know if we will have time. Session might be interrupted. Meanwhile, what regulations or what kind of taxation would be useful? Would you think would be useful to further enable the circular economy?
Is that a question for me or
it's general? Whatever wants to take it.
So I'll jump in. So obviously one of them is zero waste. So rather than just having zero waste goals, but actually legislating that and putting money towards it. You know, and for us personally, built environment, things like essentially if you're building multifamily homes, condominiums, et cetera, to ensure that there are shared resources that are required to be parts of those new developments or new neighborhoods. So whether it is that library of things or something where you can basically build smaller units, more efficient unit, essentially homes, but then having access to shared resources, whether it's mobility like bikes, you know, other products, and actually building that into building codes. Tons more, but I'll let others talk.
Richard, you want to answer that? Take that question also. For example, of course, you will from the new regulations that have come out to limit the use of cars in the future and diesel cars and gasoline cars. Just a few days ago, UK announced they were forbidding the sale of gasoline and diesel cars, for example.
Yeah, those things are really, for us, a catalyst for growth as well, but also the increasing health benefits and mindset about it. I think UK as well is trying to register cycling as a medicine for obese people. And I think that's a great thing moving forward. But also regarding legislation is maybe in line with what Gino also said is the regulation on waste, because what prevents us from being 100% recyclable is that certain parts cannot be recycled. For example, a bicycle tire that is being burned or put on landfill. There's no other option besides it. At least you can downcycle it, so you can shred it and put it in a tile, but you cannot infinitely recycle it as a tire. Those kinds of regulations that provide rules that make sure that it's designed from the start and not being thrown away. I think those are the ones that really benefit for the whole circular economy.
Okay. Can I ask you, what are the major challenges breakout rooms are about to come in, so this question will be left.
So it looks like everyone made it back. I'm very sorry for cutting you short in the breakout rooms. It was a super interesting discussion. I really struggled to press that button of return. First of all, I want to thank all speakers. This was really great. I thank you for your time, your inputs, your insights, really much appreciated. Normally you would get a little gift now, but we're not in the same room, not even in the same countries. And in the name of circularity, we opted against sending something halfway around the world. I hope that's okay with you. As you may have seen from the origins of the companies that we had on the panel, the circular economy is still a slightly more prominent topic in Europe than in the US. So especially from that perspective, we're super thankful to be able to host this event at Harvard and hope to continue broadcasting the concept in the US. And after this fantastic kickoff to the Circular Economy Forum, we would also like to give you an outlook of other events that we have planned this year and other activities that we do. So first of all, I'm going to post something in the chat. Here we go. So we're not just a conference, we really try to be a network, and we try to connect students with professionals, people from different countries, people from different circularity groups across the world, not just in the US or in Europe. So I would like to invite you to our LinkedIn group or to visit our website and send us an email if you'd like to stay in touch. We'd really appreciate that. And then we also have a couple of more events like this one today planned throughout the course of this year. One session on fueling the circular economy, which will happen at the start of next year, probably in late February, early next spring. And a session on designing out waste later next spring, which will mainly be hosted by the GSD, the design school in Harvard. So if you join our LinkedIn group, you will get prompts for all these events. And lastly, we're also running an Event Plus series, which is sort of continually tagging along so people stay in contact when there's no event coming up. As part of that, students write articles. So if you think a specific topic should be explored in more depth and you want to broadcast a topic that your company is exploring and you'd like to co-author an article with a student, that would be a great option to, well, in more depth explore a topic than a conference allows. Or if you have any other ideas of, I don't know, we've done film screenings, we've done games. Games would be a bit more difficult over Zoom. But essentially we're doing educational sessions for ourselves as a group. We're around 25 students at the moment, and we can also share with other students across different Harvard schools. So if there's any way in which you'd like to stay in touch for this Event Plus, please do so. And with that, I leave you all to a great rest of the day, a good weekend, and it was super lovely to have you there. Really interesting, really enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Brilliant presentation. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Jean. Thank you. Very interesting, your presentation also. Great to see all the comments coming in about the session. So
I hope we're archiving the chat.
I think that happens when you record it.
Yeah.
I don't know, with all the new Zoom updates, I'm happy it didn't like shut down in the middle of my breakout or something. But yeah, our breakout went pretty well. So we'll digest all of this as a team next week. Yeah.
Yeah, I closed maybe we can have 5 minutes after this. I close the room in like a minute and then send you a new link.
yeah, that's
Richard.
that's great.
Maybe one question left. There were some questions in the Slido that weren't addressed, and if there are any specific for me or Swapfeed so that I can answer, I'm happy to get back on them to the participants who requested it. But then I'll have some contact, I guess, with Sergio about it.
I can send it to you for sure because I have them here actually in my Slido. And yeah, I will be reaching to you for the Events Plus. Also, if you want to participate in that, we will be also glad to have you on board for some other activities.
Yep, and for Roberto, who's still in, it would be nice if you just could send me an email, richard@swapfeeds.com, and I will get in touch with you, and then we'll find out your answer, your question.
Richard, that's really generous of you. That's so lovely. I love the people that we had on this panel. They're all just so willing to be a part of things. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you as well. But I also think it's really, part of passing on the knowledge, right, to others in order to make real global impact. So that's what that's my kind of a personal mission. So.
So Cassie, who was on the call earlier, she started writing an article for the forum last year, and then she founded her startup out of this last year, and just made a lot of contacts. It's awesome if that happens. Fingers crossed it happens again this year.
For sure.
Okay, I'm going to be closing the event. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Good day.